So we have covered basically the introduction to this our data. Okay. So just we will be so we have completed this part, right? Introduction to data. So once we complete this introduction to data science, so today we'll be just looking to the introduction to data science in theory, and then we will jump to our Python. Okay. So we'll start with our Python programming language, and we will see from a very basic, like how Python programming works. Okay. So just let us just quickly look at the introduction to data science. Then we will move on to the coding part. Okay.
Good.
Okay. You are looking some confused. Are you? Means, do you have any doubt? Your voice is
No,
so.
like
Yeah.
I
Okay.
uh I I had a question not about like what you're teaching right now, but I had a question about last class.
Yeah, please say. I will.
So I was just wondering if you always need to use a library or can you like not use a library if you don't want to?
Exactly. Good question. So basically, see, why we use a library is to help us to reduce our coding time. Like if I would not use the library, it would take me like a huge time to write that code on itself, right? So if I don't use that library, I have to write that code on my own, right? And that code will be like take some like a huge time for me. And that code is just like your template. You may think of that code as a template. So you may create your own template again if you want some changes or some specific settings or specific configuration to that code. But again, like most of the time, we are using the libraries because we just want to give our data to it, and we want to perform we want the output from it, right? Like very less time you want some changes on this pre-written code, right? Whenever you are writing some specific code that is very basic, very in-depth, right? Then only you write this library again, this pre-written code again. Okay. Means
Okay.
basically we are using like the code reusability here. Like this is the concept
But
here. So we are using the code reusability here, right? So that is the reason for your using libraries.
okay.
Did your doubt got solved, or
Yeah, I understand.
so? That is the basic reason of using a library, so that we may just focus on the more important thing to us. Okay. So should I start with this introduction to data science now? So we have seen what is
Yeah.
data until now, and we have seen some real world scenarios where we use the data, right? So now, so what could be the possible ways from where you can get data? Like you don't see in these example, like don't tell from these, tell some example apart from this. Okay. So like from where think and tell me from where you may think like you will get the data. Just like yeah, try anything.
You
Most of the
get
time from anywhere you will get data.
yeah.
So think of it.
So you could like get it from like anywhere, like from the internet or from people or from social media.
Like from any blog you are reading or any Instagram or whenever you are scrolling, right? So if I'm scrolling through Instagram and I stop at any particular video, like this is a data point, right? That for every video I spent not more than 1 second, but for this video I spent like 5 seconds. So this is a data gain. Okay. So try to think of any other, like if you will say at any point, right, in today's world, if you will say anything that everywhere the data is generated. Okay. If you will say like in school is the data is generated. You will say library, in a library data is generated. You will take any example, any place, right? Like office. The office means everywhere the data is generated in today's world, right? And there's a concept of 3V. If you would have heard of term big data. Have you heard of this term?
No.
So this is the term we use to describe the huge amount of data, right? So how this big data is described is through your 3Vs. We have variety, like a different variety of data, varicity, and velocity. Like how fast your data is moving. Like in today in internet world, like millions, thousands of lakhs of video are posted in an in a minute on YouTube, right? So that is your velocity on a per minute basis. How many data points are generated, right? And how many different types of data is there? That will be your big data, right?
Yeah.
And so basically in today's world, everywhere you will see, like in grocery store, like if you buy something, like if you buy a apple or any grocery item, you will get a bill at the end, right? It will take the item name and the price, item name and the price, item name and the price. So this is your grocery. Whenever you visit a grocery store, this is our data that is generated. When you go to the ATM machine, it will generate you an bill, right? That is a data, like the amount of money that has been deducted from your account, and or the amount that has been added to your account, right? So that is your data. On social media, we have the data is there, right? So now we have data. So then the data is analyzed through the data analysis, right? So these are the two different terms: data science and data analysis, right? So this data will be analyzed by some data analyst, right? So there are different topic, like that is your data analyst, okay? So the job of this data analyst is to analyze this data, okay? And then this
Okay.
after once this data is analyzed, now the data will be the insights will be found, or the your predictions will be made, okay, using this data with the help of data science, okay? Now let's take an example for grocery store. Like using this data science, we can predict now, like if a person buys a smartphone, he will be likely to buy a charger also, right? Using this data science, we are making some predictions.
Yeah.
We are saying if a person is buying a smartphone, then he may also buy some earphone.
Yeah.
He may also buy the case, smartphone case, right? So that is the job of this
Yeah.
data scientist.